The M23 rebel group has become a symbol of conflict in the mineral-rich eastern provinces of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Allegations of Rwanda's support for this group have sparked widespread debate, drawing attention from global powers, human rights organizations, and regional actors. But what fuels Rwanda's involvement with M23? In this video we'll explore the historical, political, and economic motivations driving Rwanda's alleged actions and propose actionable solutions for lasting peace in the Great Lakes region. To understand Rwanda's role in the M23 conflict, we must first revisit the 1994 Rwandan genocide, a tragedy that left over 800,000 Tutsi and moderate Hutu dead. In the aftermath, millions of Rwandan Hutus fled across the border into neighboring countries, including the eastern provinces of the DRC. Among these refugees were members of the Interahamwe militia and former Rwandan Armed Forces, or FAR, who later regrouped to form the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, known as the FDLR. For Rwanda, the FDLR represents an existential threat. Based in eastern DRC, this group has carried out cross-border raids and destabilized Rwanda's western regions. Kigali has repeatedly stated that the inability of the Congolese government to neutralize the FDLR leaves Rwanda with no choice but to act. Adding to the complexity are ethnic tensions. The Banyamulenge, a Tutsi-descended community in eastern DRC, have long faced discrimination and violence. Often viewed as foreigners despite their deep roots in the region, their plight has driven Rwanda to protect them. M23, a predominantly Tutsi rebel group, emerged as a proxy force for Rwanda to counter the FDLR and safeguard ethnic Tutsis in the DRC. But Rwanda's motivations go beyond security. Its involvement with M23 aligns with broader political goals. Kigali seeks to maintain regional dominance in the Great Lakes region, countering the influence of rival states like Uganda. Through M23, Rwanda exerts pressure on the DRC government, leveraging instability to influence Congolese politics and secure its interests. At the same time, Kigali frames its actions as advocacy for Tutsi communities, highlighting their marginalization in DRC politics. Domestically, President Paul Kagame's administration portrays its involvement in eastern DRC as necessary for national security. This narrative strengthens his government's standing while diverting attention from internal challenges, including allegations of human rights abuses. The mineral wealth of eastern DRC adds another layer of complexity. The region holds vast deposits of gold, coltan, tin, and tantalum, resources critical for global industries like electronics and jewelry. Reports suggest that minerals extracted from eastern DRC are smuggled into Rwanda, where they are exported as Rwandan products. Rwanda's official export data often exceeds its domestic production capacity, raising questions about the origin of these resources. By supporting M23, Rwanda allegedly gains indirect control over key mining areas and trade routes, securing access to valuable resources. This economic leverage strengthens Rwanda's global standing and supports its industrial ambitions. Rwanda's involvement with M23 is also influenced by its rivalry with Uganda. Both nations have a history of supporting rebel groups in eastern DRC to advance their strategic interests. This rivalry dates back to the 1990s, when their alliance fractured during the Second Congo War. Today, both countries back opposing factions, turning eastern DRC into a battleground for regional dominance. The resurgence of M23 has brought devastating consequences. Over 5.7 million people have been displaced in eastern DRC, creating one of the world's largest humanitarian crises. M23 has been accused of committing atrocities, including killings, sexual violence, and forced recruitment of children. The group's control over key territories disrupts access to healthcare, education, and basic services. The conflict also disrupts regional trade, damages infrastructure, and deprives the DRC of critical revenue from its natural resources. Solving the M23 conflict requires addressing its root causes and fostering cooperation among regional actors. Here are some key recommendations. 1. Strengthening governance in the DRC, Professionalize the Congolese armed forces to effectively combat militias. Formalize the artisanal mining sector to ensure transparency. Enhance border security to prevent smuggling. 2. Promoting regional cooperation. Facilitate dialogue between Rwanda, Uganda, and the DRC to rebuild trust. Launch joint security operations to dismantle armed groups. Develop shared economic projects to reduce resource-driven conflict. 3. Addressing Rwanda's concerns. Disarm and neutralize the FDLR with international support. Protect Tutsi communities in the DRC through equitable representation and anti-discrimination laws. 4. International accountability. Enforce sanctions against those involved in illegal resource trade. Strengthen MONUSCO's peacekeeping mandate. Increase humanitarian aid for displaced populations. The M23 conflict is not just a crisis for the DRC, but a challenge for the entire Great Lakes region. Resolving this crisis requires a collective effort, from strengthening governance in the DRC to fostering regional dialogue and holding all actors accountable. By addressing these drivers and fostering trust among nations, we can break the cycle of violence and rebuild hope for the millions affected by this conflict. Join the conversation. What do you think about the M23 conflict? If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's raise awareness about this critical issue and push for lasting solutions in the Great Lakes region. See you in the next video.